Here are 7 animated Bible stories that have been popular and well received over the years. Before we start, we'd like to ask for your support. If you enjoy our video, please hit the like button. This will help us reach more people and create content for you. Now let's get started with today's video. Creation in the fall. Genesis chapters 1 to 3. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Over 6 days, he formed the world and everything in it: light, sky, land, sea, plants, animals, and humans. On the 6th day, God created man and woman, Adam and Eve, in his image, and gave them dominion over the earth. They lived in the Garden of Eden, a paradise where they had everything they needed and walked in close fellowship with God. God gave them one command. They could eat from any tree in the garden except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. However, the serpent, more cunning than any other beast, tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. She ate it and gave some to Adam, who also ate. Their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked, so they made coverings from fig leaves. When God came to walk in the garden, Adam and Eve hid. God called out to them, and they confessed their disobedience. As a consequence, God expelled them from Eden to prevent them from eating from the tree of life and living forever in their fallen state. He also pronounced curses. The serpent would crawl on its belly. Eve would experience pain in childbirth, and Adam would toil for his sustenance. 2. Noah's Ark. Genesis chapters 6 to 9. As humanity multiplied, wickedness increased, and God regretted creating man. However, Noah found favor in God's eyes. God instructed Noah to build an ark because he planned to destroy the earth with a flood due to its corruption. Noah, a righteous man, obeyed God's command and constructed the ark with precise dimensions. God told Noah to bring into the ark 2 of every kind of animal, male and female, along with his wife, sons, and their wives. When the ark was ready, and the animals and Noah's family were aboard, God shut the door, and the rain began. For 40 days and nights it rained, and the waters flooded the earth, covering even the highest mountains and destroying all life outside the ark. After the rain stopped, the waters gradually receded. Noah sent out a raven, and later a dove, to see if the land was dry. The dove returned with an olive leaf, signaling that the floodwaters had abated. Eventually, the ark came to rest on Mount Ararat, and God instructed Noah and his family to leave the ark and repopulate the earth. God made a covenant with Noah, promising never to destroy the earth with a flood again. He set a rainbow in the sky as a sign of this everlasting covenant between him and all living creatures. 3. David and Goliath. 1 Samuel chapter 17. The Philistines and Israelites were at war, with their armies encamped on opposing hills. Goliath, a giant Philistine warrior over 9 feet tall, challenged the Israelites to send a champion to fight him. For 40 days, Goliath taunted the Israelites, instilling fear in their hearts. David, a young shepherd boy, was sent by his father to bring food to his brothers in the Israelite army. Hearing Goliath's challenge, David volunteered to fight the giant, despite his youth and inexperience. King Saul initially dismissed David but relented when David recounted his past victories over lions and bears while guarding his sheep, attributing his success to God's protection. David approached Goliath with only a sling and 5 smooth stones, refusing the king's armor. Goliath mocked David, but David declared that he came in the name of the Lord. With faith and courage, David slung a stone that struck Goliath in the forehead, felling the giant. David then used Goliath's own sword to behead him, leading the Israelites to a decisive victory over the Philistines. Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel 6. Daniel, an exiled Jew in Babylon, served with distinction under King Darius, rising to a high position due to his exceptional qualities. His success incited jealousy among other officials, who sought to find a reason to accuse him but found none, as Daniel was faithful and upright. Knowing Daniel's devotion to God, they devised a plan to trap him using his faith. They convinced King Darius to issue a decree that anyone who prayed to any god or man except the king for 30 days would be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel, aware of the decree, continued his practice of praying 3 times a day to God, giving thanks and seeking his help. His enemies spied on him and reported his disobedience to the king. Though distressed, King Darius had no choice but to enforce the decree. He reluctantly ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den, expressing hope that Daniel's God would rescue him. A stone was placed over the den's mouth, and the king sealed it with his ring. That night, King Darius fasted and could not sleep. At dawn, he hurried to the den and called out to Daniel. To his relief, Daniel responded, unharmed. He explained that God had sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths because he was found innocent in God's sight and had done no wrong before the king. Overjoyed, Darius ordered Daniel's release and commanded that his accusers be thrown into the den, where they were immediately devoured. Darius then issued a decree praising Daniel's God as the living God who endures forever. 5. The Good Samaritan, Luke chapter 10 verses 25 to 37. Jesus told the parable of the Good Samaritan in response to a lawyer's question about how to inherit eternal life. The lawyer asked Jesus to define neighbor, prompting Jesus to share this story. A man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho was attacked by robbers, who stripped him, beat him, and left him half dead. A priest happened by and saw the injured man but crossed to the other side of the road and continued on. Likewise, a Levite came upon the scene. But he too avoided the man and passed by on the opposite side. Then a Samaritan, a member of a group despised by Jews, came along and saw the wounded man. Moved with compassion, he approached the victim, treated his wounds with oil and wine, and bandaged them. The Samaritan then placed the man on his donkey, brought him to an inn, and cared for him. The next day, he gave the innkeeper 2 denarii, instructing him to look after the man and promising to reimburse any additional expenses upon his return. Jesus asked the lawyer which of the 3 had been a neighbor to the man. The lawyer replied that it was the one who showed mercy. Jesus then told him to go and do likewise, emphasizing that loving one's neighbor means showing compassion and kindness to all, regardless of societal boundaries or prejudices. 6. The Prodigal Son, Luke chapter 15 verses 11 to 32. Jesus shared the parable of the prodigal son to illustrate God's grace and forgiveness. A man had 2 sons. The younger son demanded his share of the inheritance and left for a distant country, where he squandered his wealth in reckless living. After spending everything, a severe famine struck the land, and he found himself in dire need. He took a job feeding pigs, a degrading task for a Jew, and longed to eat the pods the pigs were given, but no one gave him anything. Coming to his senses, he realized that his father's hired servants had plenty of food while he was starving. He decided to return home, confess his sin against heaven and his father, and ask to be treated as a hired servant. While he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion. He ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. The son confessed his sin, but the father ordered his servants to bring the best robe, a ring, and sandals for him, and to prepare a feast with the fattened calf. The father declared that his son, who was lost and dead, was now found and alive, and they begged. Please subscribe my YouTube channel. I hope you like this video. Thank you.